It is the first episode of year number 3, and your eyes are not deceiving you. The Rockies already 6-4. When I was recording the opening day episode, my PC blue screened in the middle of the recording, and I lost that recording. Ordinarily, this would be fine. I could just reload the save, but apparently the auto save that I have wiped the start of season 3 save that I had. So I actually have no way to get to the start of season number 3. But that's okay. You didn't miss too much. And before I give you the recap of the first 10 games of the season, here is a recap of how spring training went. I did 15 games of the normal starters, and I did 15 games of what I would call the backup squad. The Rockies went 15-16, so just a touch under 500. And here's how everyone performed. Thompson wasn't great, had the most at-bats by far, only batted a 205 with a 283 OBP. Roman Anthony, the guy we traded for, a 239 average with a 292 OBP. Brendan Rodgers, 233 with a 303. Nolan Jones, 328 with a 391 and a 1000 OPS. Barry Cohen was honestly not good. 190 average, 246 OBP. Ariel Amador actually played so well. 293 average with a 369 OBP and an 835 OPS. Ezequiel Tovar played very well as well. 281, 359 and an 833 OPS. Luis Arraez did exactly what we anticipated, just with a slightly worse average. 273 but 385 OBP. Zach Veen was really bad, and no matter where I put him, he just tends to be bad. 151 average. Jordan Beck was good, a 280 average. Brenton Doyle was bad, a 191 average. Verdugo was really good with a 391 and a 440 with a 1100 OPS. Samuel Basayo was really good. Tolia was kind of bad. Warming Bernabel was mid. Yanquiel Fernandez was elite. Luis Montero was fine. He's currently passing through waivers because he wasn't going to be on the team, and he's out of minor league options. He might get snagged. Ahmed Rosario was good again. Francisco Mejia was really good, but did not play much. Benny Montgomery was bad, and Bouchard was really good in the limited time he played. So Nolan Jones led us in home runs, then Cohen, then Verdugo, Tovar, Fernandez, and Montero all tied with 3. Jones had the most RBIs with 13. This is completely unsurprising. Thompson actually had 12 despite the bad average. So the leader in average was Mejia, and then Verdugo, then Fernandez, then Jones, and then Bouchard. Those were the only guys over 300. Amador just under 300 at a 293. OBP was led by Bouchard with 500. Mejia 441, Verdugo 440, Fernandez 435, Rosario 400. Seeing Rosario at a 400 is wild considering that his average was 270. Nolan Jones with a 391, Arraez with a 385. We had a lot of high OBP guys. Nolan Jones led in slugging. We had a few guys in the 600s. Nolan Jones, Fernandez, and Alex Verdugo. Mejia just under, Montero just under 500. I have to scroll for a while to find Barry Cohen at a 414. OPS, we had 4 guys over 1,000. That's Alex Verdugo, Yanquiel Fernandez, Nolan Jones, and Francisco Mejia. None of them were really battling for a roster spot, but good to see them playing well. Sean Bouchard could technically be battling for a roster spot, and he played really well in spring training. Gotta give him credit. Amador also played very well in spring training, has an 835 OPS, Tovar an 833, Beck an 825. Everyone else is below 800, but Montero, Rosario, Arraez all had 700 plus OPS. Arraez drew the most walks with 10, only had 7 strikeouts. That's exactly what I wanted to see from him. Thompson struck out the most with 24. Doyle had 20. I just don't know what to do with Brenton Doyle. He's taking up the center field roster spot right now, and he's such an elite fielder, but it sort of feels like he needs to be traded. Roman Anthony had 14 strikeouts, Beck with 14. So Arraez with 10 walks, Thompson 8, Rosario 8, Tovar 7, and then some 6s and some 5s. Rodgers had the most doubles with 4. Beck had 4, Jones had 4, and Doyle had 4, and so did Amador. Amador played so well, man. You're making this hard for me to decide who to bring up. 6 total triples, 1 for Verdugo, Tovar, Fernandez, Jones, Basayo, and Bouchard. Jones with the most total bases at 40, Verdugo with 31. He played so well this entire spring training. And here's how the pitchers did. Again, take some of these numbers with a grain of salt because they did not have a lot of innings pitched. Peter Lambert, 4.24 ERA, 1.65 whip, not great. Soroka was fine. Michael King was fine, if not slightly disappointing. Jalen Beeks was bad. Flaherty was really good. Hunter Harvey was really good. Satchel Paige was incredible. 29.2 innings pitched. He did give up a decent chunk of walks to strikeouts. Like, that walk to strikeout ratio is not great. And he had a 3.71 FIP. But I mean, the ERA and the whip numbers are very good. He was battling against Dollander and Priester for who was going to get the 5th starting spot. And you're going to see momentarily that the other two weren't even close. Ryan Helsley only pitched 10 innings, but did not give up a run, only had a .8 whip. Justin Lawrence had a low ERA, but a kind of high whip at 2.0. Lucas Gilbreth was fine, if slightly below average in the whip. Caleb Ferguson was really, really bad, but he didn't pitch a lot. I'm hoping that's not a sign of things to come. Loizaga was fine, pretty average. AJ Minter looks like didn't get the chance to play. Oh, and I guess Priester and Dolander aren't here because I had already moved them down to AAA, but they each had over a 10.0 ERA. Unfortunately, it shows Dolander as a 0 ERA here, but I can assure you he was really, 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 really bad. Here, you can see his actual stats. His true ERA to end spring training was a 10.98. The dude was horrendous. His whip was high, his FIP was high, and it was the same for Priester. They were both absolutely horrible during spring training. It made the decision really easy, and that decision is for Satchel Paige to be the 5th starter in the pitching rotation. So one thing is that Jack Flaherty suffered a shoulder separation in either his first or second start on the season. Looks like it was his first start because he only got 4 innings. So he will miss 1 to 2 months. We're going to just keep putting him on the 15-day IL rather than the 60-day because it's more likely to be closer to 1 month than 2, so I don't want to have him out for a full 2 months. Satchel Paige earned the 5th starting spot through spring training. I thought he played well enough to be the 5th starter, and originally Chase Dolander was at AAA, but with the injury to Jack Flaherty, we brought up Priester temporarily and then Dolander after Priester had a couple of bad starts. Dolander, if he performs well during this stretch with Flaherty out, will stay on the team the rest of the season, I would say, because he really is the most ready of any of our pitching prospects. I like Satchel Paige, don't get me wrong. He just has mid-C potential, so he's basically already at his peak. His control isn't the best, and he has low hit and K per 9. Dolander, much more well-rounded. Plus, he has A potential, so his ceiling is way, way higher. So when Flaherty comes back, unless Satchel Paige is having an elite season, then Paige will probably be sent down or maybe turned into a reliever. I'm not entirely sure yet. Also, I did learn that a couple of our relievers are actually significantly better as starters. Very similar to what happened to Oviedo after he switched from relief pitcher to starting pitcher. He went up from a 72 overall to an 80 overall and is now an 81 overall. Well, the same sort of thing applies to Louis Varland, who was a mid-60s reliever but has high stamina and became a 73 overall starting pitcher. And his numbers, other than walks per 9, are actually pretty solid. So if injuries were to happen, we can feel pretty good about bringing Louis Varland up. And the same goes for a slightly younger guy, Doug Nikazi. He was a 57 overall relief pitcher, jumps all the way up to a 66 as a starter. I did change up the looks of a number of players, including John Chirac, as I just think they look a lot better with these various looks. Like, this is what Chirac looked like before with no beard. It's just not great. He's not a very handsome lad. And then you give him the full beard, I just think he looks a lot better. And I did that with a couple of real life players, including Samuel Basayo, but all I changed was his hair. I changed the look of Barry Cohen. I think he looks much better now. Got a little bit more stubble, looks a little bit more like a vet, even though he's only 19. Amador actually just made his debut in real life, and his original player model looked nothing like him, and they also had him way underweight. I want to say they had him listed at like 160 in the game, and I believe he's like 200-ish in real life right now. He was way too skinny looking, he had the wrong hair, his face looked nothing like his real face, so I changed up his look, gave him the armbands and everything that I could, that it looked like he was playing with in real life. I think he looks way better. I did a similar thing with Yanquiel Fernandez. He didn't look anything like his real life player either, so I changed him up just a little bit, though not as drastically as Amador. So if you see players that are looking just a touch different, that is why. But anyway, let me show you the recap of what happened to start the year that we missed out on due to the blue screening of my PC. So we had 2 games against Arizona to start the year, and it was the debut of Michael King in a Rockies uniform. He ended up going 6 full innings, only allowing the 1 earned run, had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks, a very respectable outing, and then the bullpen shut it down. As for the bats, you got a hit from Arise, who was leading off to start the year, hits from Jones, Cohen, Verdugo, a couple from Rogers, and 1 from Tovar. Game number 2, we lose 0-8 8, and Oviedo really struggled, only getting through 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Ferguson had a very bad outing as well, and the Bats only had 3 hits on the day, 1 from Jones, Mejia, and Rogers. Then we had to wait a full week until we faced off against the Dodgers for the first time this season in what was their season debut, and it was a win against Shohei Ohtani, and this was the game where Jack Flaherty got injured. Caleb Ferguson came in and gave us 2 good innings, and then the bullpen once again shut it down. We managed to win this game despite only getting 3 hits. Ahmed Rosario did walk twice, actually had a number of walks it looks like, and Yanquiel Fernandez and Samuel Basayo, 2 of our young players, ended up with the game-winning RBIs. Game number 2, we also won 2-1, and on the mound this time it was Satchel Paige who nearly no-hit the Dodgers. He went 7 full innings and was taken out of the game after allowing a solo home run to Shohei Ohtani. 9 strikeouts, no walks. He hit the Dodgers. That 1 hit just happened to be a homer. Barry Cohen also got his first home run on the year and had 2 RBIs, the only RBIs we needed to win this game. Had a couple more walks from Ahmed Rosario and a walk from Verdugo. The top part of this lineup doing very well in this game at least. And then finally a 1-8 loss against the Dodgers in the third game of what is a 4-game set. Rockies only able to get 4 hits, 2 from Verdugo, 1 from Cohen, 1 from Jones. And Quinn Priester gave us his first outing of the season in place of Jack Flaherty and allowed 6 earned runs in the first, striking out no one and walking 4. And this was the point where I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be Dollander going forward. Jalen Beeks came in, gave us 4 innings, only allowing the 1 earned run. Ferguson gave us another 3, only allowing another run. And Jose Quijada, which is a name you probably didn't see me sign in the offseason, gave us 1 solid inning pitched, and that was his first inning pitched as a Rocky. Now let me explain how I got Jose Quijada, and I'm going to change his glove while I'm doing that because it's very red. When you remove a player from your 40-man roster, or if they don't have any minor league options available and you try to send them down to AAA, they have to pass through outright waivers before they actually go to the AAA team. So the Angels tried to send Quijada to AAA, but he didn't have any minor league options left, so he had to pass through waivers. If you haven't done this before, you can go to the transactions screen and look at pending and see the waiver wire. And very early on in the season, I'm talking like right at the beginning of the season, there's some quality players on the waiver wire that teams are trying to send down to the minors. So I took a peek at waivers and I saw Jose Quijada. He's a good left-handed relief pitcher. I snagged him up. You can see here on 320, we sent Eleris Montero to AAA, we sent Justin Lawrence to AAA, and we claimed Jose Quijada off waivers from the Los Angeles Angels. So another man's trash is my treasure in this case. And Quijada has been genuinely very good for us since that signing. So now the 4th game of the series against the Dodgers, we actually take the series 3-1. And the Bats were working well today. We had 10 total hits, 3 RBIs from Alex Verdugo, by the way, and Brendan Rodgers batting a .368 to this point, Tovar and Fernandez struggling. Michael King went 5 1/3, gave up 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. I mean, you've definitely seen worse, but you've obviously seen way better outings. Loaizaga gave us 2 outs, giving up an earned run, and then Quijada came in, shut it down, along with Harvey and Helsley for a win over the Dodgers. In game 1 of a series against the Brewers, we got 3 RBIs on 3 hits from Ezequiel Tovar, including his first home run of the season, and we got a pretty good outing out of Johan Oviedo, only allowing 1 earned run, but did have 3 walks to only the 1 strikeout. Game 2 against Milwaukee was a 10-0 shutout, 13 hits for the Rockies, 4 RBIs from Alex Verdugo, 4 RBIs from Yanquiel Fernandez. Verdugo and Rogers getting their first home runs on the season, and Fernandez getting his second. Soroka almost pitching a complete game shutout, went 8 1/3, no earned runs, only allowing the 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. Quijada came in, got the final 2 outs with 2 strikeouts. Game number 3 against the Brewers was a loss. 6-4 is the final here. The team actually didn't play terribly. It was just kind of a bad outing from Satchel Paige. 5 1/3, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, allowing 6 hits. Loaizaga gave up another run, and then Ferguson Ferguson and Harvey didn't give up any other runs, but just a tough fought game, and these games are going to happen. And you'll notice I did not sim all the way through this Dodgers series, and that is because this is when my PC blue screened, but the game had already auto-saved. So in the first game of the series against the Dodgers, our second one on the season against the Dodgers, the Rockies fall 3-2 in the 9th inning where the Dodgers walked it off. Quinn Priester actually had a relatively decent outing, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Ferguson came in, gave us 2 solid innings, and then Ryan Helsley didn't blow a save, but did get the loss by allowing the 1 earned run. It was not a save situation as we were tied at 2 apiece, so still has yet to blow a save this season. But that is where we are at so far this year. And by the way, my job security as the Rockies general manager is quite low, and I did discover that I left GM contracts on by mistake, meaning that if we don't at the very least finish over 500 this season, I will be fired as the Rockies GM. So we're all in on this year, which is part of why I went so hard in the offseason bringing in Arise and Michael King. I personally would rather play the young players and be bad for another year, but the series literally will not continue if we don't hit 82 wins this season. It cannot be 81-81. It has to be 82-80 at a minimum for me to get an extension. Really quick, I want to talk about Sterling Thompson. I have talked at length about how I like Sterling Thompson a lot, but the fact that his secondary positions are outfield positions hurts his value on this team a lot. So I have an idea, and I think you guys will like this. I think if there were this situation in the MLB, you'd walk up to Sterling Thompson as the GM and you would ask him if he would be willing to learn new positions in order to keep his spot on the team. Sterling Thompson in real life is known as an incredible fielder, and I think that somebody with his fielding ability would be willing to learn new positions. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say, I, as the Rockies GM, am approaching Sterling Thompson. I'm going to say, hey, Sterling, we really don't need guys who can play the outfield with this Rockies team. Would you be willing to learn how to play second base and shortstop so that we can use you in the infield instead, because we don't want to lose you? Otherwise, we're probably going to have to trade you away. And here's how we're going to let Sterling Thompson answer that. We're going to flip a coin. Heads, he agrees. He will learn how to play second base and shortstop. I will give him a minor hit to his fielding and reaction ratings, as though he's learning those new positions, and we move on. Tails, he says, no, I have no interest in learning the infield positions. I'd rather play the outfield and third base, and at that point, we'll probably look to trade him. So here we go. I'm gonna do this with no cuts. I'm gonna flip a coin, and whatever it lands on is what Sterling Thompson decides. Coin is flipping and it lands on heads. So that means that Sterling Thompson has agreed to learn how to play second base and shortstop in order to remain with the Rockies. So we're going to accept those changes. And I'm also going to give him a small hit to his fielding ability and his reactions. We'll go -5 for each of these. So we'll go down to 67 fielding ability and 74 reactions. I think that that's pretty fair. That way it's like he's learning the new positions, which can be a little bit of a struggle. Let me know what you guys think of this idea. Is it unfair? Is it gimmicky? Is it stupid? If you think so, we'll undo it, and then I'll probably just trade Sterling Thompson away. But this gives us way more flexibility. And I think that obviously in real life, you would give a guy like Sterling Thompson, who had such a good year last year, the opportunity to make that switch so that he can stay with the team, because I want him to stay with the team. So anyway, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me for missing the first 10 games of season number 3. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't amount to very much, because obviously there's 162 of them in a whole season, so you didn't miss a whole lot. Rockies 6-4, looking to beat the Dodgers for the second time in a series this season. We'll be facing off against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is 0-1 to start the season with a 3.18 ERA and a 1.76 WHIP. Ahmed Rosario, currently our leadoff man, but I'm not opposed to changing things around, only batting a 176 through the first 10 games. And he'll look at strike one. Rosario got a splitter that was hanging, but hit it basically straight to the center fielder, out number 1. Luis Arise also struggling a bit at the plate to start the year, only a 167 batting average. We brought him in to be like a surefire 300 plus guy. Hopefully he can get that back on track. Luis Arise pops to dead center, and this time I don't even think the center fielder moved at all. That is out number 2. I like these Dodgers City Connects. I hadn't seen them before. they look pretty good. As now we're on to Nolan Jones, who will finally put one on the ground. And that's the first base hit of the day for the Rockies. Brings up our boy Barry Cohen. Looking to have a breakout year from him this year, hopefully. He is up to an 86 overall. He's improved very quickly. Obviously came into the league at an 81, so had a very high floor, but also has a very high ceiling with the true 99 potential. And he'll hit this one back up the middle. And Nolan Jones is going to hold up at second. And we've got runners on first and second with Ezequiel Tovar coming to the plate. I do have Tovar batting fifth because it is still a bit of an RBI spot in the lineup, and he has pretty high batting clutch at 79. And if you don't know, batting clutch takes over the contact rating, and Tovar's batting clutch is actually higher than his contact, so he should benefit from being in an RBI producing position. Oh, that is a perfect fastball from Yamamoto. Tovar goes down looking, and that's the end of the top of the first. On the mound for the Rockies is our new ace, Michael King, with a 3.97 ERA and a 1.41 whip. Through 2 starts so far, he's 1-0. Michael King, we of course stole from the San Diego Padres, as Freddie Freeman looks at strike one. Swing and a miss on a sinker well below the zone. And Freeman goes down on strikes. Ahead in the count on Riley Green now. Let's see if we can get him with the slurve. He'll pop this one to left, where Verdugo is patiently waiting, out number 2. Now it's Mookie Betts who lines out to Ahmed Rosario in a quick 1-2-3 inning for the Rockies. Alex Verdugo, who is our RBI leader and I think average leader to start the season, has been hit by a pitch, so we've got a runner on to start the second. I think I have a trade in mind involving Brendan Rodgers. I'll show you guys after this game. You can let me know what you think, as this one gets through the infield. Freeman can't make the play, and we've got 2 runners on to start the inning. Yanquiel Fernandez now at the plate, really struggling with a 120 average to start the season. Maybe he gets it going today. This one is popped to left and not very deep, very much playable, and that is out number 1. Now Samuel Basayo finds himself in an 0-2 hole. Strike 3 looking. That splitter is filthy. I thought it was going to drop even more than that and fall out of the zone, but it stayed in there, and it's a strikeout looking for Samuel Basayo. Brings us back to Ahmed Rosario. This is a little blooper that could fall in, but it won't. Pops out to right, and the leadoff singles that we got from 2 of our players amount to nothing. I'm surprised to see they have Ohtani batting all the way down in 4th, as that was a hanging sinker. Luckily, that wasn't crushed. As Fernandez will play this in center, and we've got a runner on to start the bottom of the second. James Outman in a 2-2 count. Here comes another sinker, and that is very low. Now it's full. And he will ground this one to third. It gets past Brendan Rodgers, who is playing in third this season. Grounder to Cohen. We'll go for a double play here. Tovar back to Cohen. And it is a double play against Colt Keith. They do have a runner on third, but we're only 1 out away from being out of this inning. Popped way up by JT Realmuto. And as long as Cohen can make the grab, it'll be no runs scored for the Dodgers. End of the second inning. Deadlocked at 0-0 as we bring Luis Arraez to the plate to start the third. And he will fly this one to right on the first pitch. And that's an easy out, number 1. Nolan Jones grounds on to first. And that's an easy out, number 2. Barry Cohen with a full count, 3-2. And that's a checked swing, and they say he went. I agree. I think he did go. That just sucks. Who's going to break the 0-0 tie first? Both pitchers playing very well so far. Michael King locked in. I really like King's pitching motion. It's so fast and fluid. Rodgers does get this one stopped, but I think the runner's going to be safe with the good speed. And he is indeed. Gavin Lux makes it onto first. And that's a base hit. We, of course, have Brendan Rodgers playing third this season. With the fact that we have Luis Arraez and Ahmed Rosario, we can have one of them play second. Rodgers plays third, and it just maximizes the potential of the team, really. even though Rogers maybe doesn't have the arm strength to be a third baseman. Could always move Tovar over to third and bring Rogers to short instead. In fact, I may do that going forward. That's a sinker that gets fouled off. Swing and a miss on a slurve. Nasty pitch from Michael King. Back to the top of the order with Freddie Freeman, and that sinker just misses. 3-0 count to Freddie Freeman, and this time we finally get a strike call. Number 3 was called a ball, so should be 2-2. Instead, it is 3-1. We'll go to an off-speed pitch. Kind of left it up a little bit, but it's foul. Ball number 4 to Freddie Freeman. Saw that one coming from a mile away. Riley Green way out in front of that sinker there. We'll go to the curveball here, and he does ground it. It'll get through the infield. Can Nolan Jones throw the runner out at home? He's got the big arm, but it's not in time. And the tie will be broken up by the Dodgers. They get on the board first, and it's 1-0 LA off the bat of Riley Green. Got it past Barry Cohen in the infield. Now Mookie Betts at the plate, obviously a dangerous bat. Grounder to Rogers, might be able to turn 2 here, never mind. Brendan Rodgers throws it into the outfield, playing catch with Nolan Jones, and a second run will score off of the throwing error. Would have been a double play to end the inning more than likely. Rodgers, a liability at third, I guess, misses the throw and allows another run and forces Michael King to face Shohei Ohtani with runners on the corner. And Ohtani is going to bat at least one more run home, and it's all thanks to the throwing error from Brendan Rodgers. They'll hold everyone up at second and third, but that's 3 runs scored in the inning for the Dodgers, only really one of which I feel like was earned. Because now he faces James Outman, and this Dodgers lineup is just so patient. They don't swing at anything out of the zone. Verdugo going to throw home, and Ohtani will hold up at third. Might be time to consider a pitching change, although I don't feel like King is pitching too poorly. Can Rogers get the double play going this time to Rosario to Cohen, and finally, we are out of the third inning. 4 runs put up by the Dodgers, really only one of which felt like it was Michael King's fault. Everything after that just came off of that error from Brendan Rodgers. Let's see if the Rockies offense can match. Tovar hits one pretty deep to left center field. Is it going to get down? It is. This will be extra bases for Ezequiel Tovar, and he'll lead us off with a double to start the 4th inning. A good start to the inning, but we've had a couple leadoff hits before, and it hasn't amounted to anything, so I don't have a ton of confidence in the offense right now. Brings up Alex Verdugo, who, like I said, I believe currently leads the team in RBIs through the first 10 games. And he's going to ground onto first, which isn't all that bad because it does advance Tovar to third, only 90 feet away from scoring a run now. Brendan Rodgers could partially make up for the error by getting an RBI here. And he's going to do just that. Back up the middle, Brendan Rodgers bats our man home, Ezequiel Tovar, and it's 4-1. So the Rockies chipping away at this lead now. A lead mostly given up by this man, Brendan Rodgers. And Yanquiel Fernandez grounds softly towards second. He'll beat out the throw to first, so no double play there for the Dodgers, but a fielder's choice instead. Samuel Basallo cracks this one to left center field. This will probably score Yanquiel Fernandez from first. Basallo in there with a double. We'll see if they throw home. They do, and it's offline. A stand-up score for Yanquiel Fernandez and an RBI double for Samuel Basallo. The more he plays, the more impressed I get. I'm really glad we've got him on the team, and it pays off in a big way with our second run of the inning. Now need the top of the order to start getting some things done. Ahmed Rosario 0 for 2 on the day. Looking for him and Arise to maybe get some things going, as that's a really good 2-seamer. Swing and a miss from Rosario, 0 for 3 today. But 2 runs scored for the Rockies, so it could be worse. We're chipping away at this lead, trying to mount a comeback. I am going to leave Michael King in. I actually don't feel like he's playing terribly. I say that as he leaves a circle change right down the middle bounces off of the back wall, and Verdugo gets it back in, but that is a leadoff double for JT Realmuto. So maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe Michael King isn't playing all that well. Man, the Dodgers just are so picky about what they swing at, and every time we throw that circle change, it's left hanging. This time, it just pops to Verdugo, though, and that's out number 1.
That's a ball.
Cannot get a strike call on the edges. My goodness, I hate this ump. Has the tiniest strike zone. Of course, that one's a strike, though. Left another ball hanging, and this is probably going to score a run. Verdugo gets the throw into Rogers and then to home, but it's too late. A 5th run comes across for the Dodgers, and they extend their lead back to 3 as we keep hanging sinkers. Another hanging circle change. I mean, he just can't locate this pitch. I think we stop throwing it at this point. Also, maybe we bring him out of the game at this point. Swing and a miss on the slurve. Finally, another strikeout for Michael King. That's only his 3rd on the day. Normally a bit more of a strikeout guy than that. Mookie Betts hits one up to a diving Barry Cohen, and he'll finish the inning with that web gem. Well played by Barry Cohen. Diving play over there at first will get us out of this inning. Hit by pitch for Luis Ariz, who checked his swing there, actually. I almost swung at that. But a base runner on for the Rockies. Not a very fast one, though. Luis Ariz with sub-40 speed. Nolan Jones got a hanging curveball, but did not get all of it. Flies out to center field, and the runner cannot advance. Barry Cohen gets hit by a pitch after battling for a very long time. I think that was the 7th or 8th pitch of the at-bat. 2 runners on for Ezequiel Tovar. Swing and a miss from Tovar. I felt like my timing wasn't that bad on that splitter. Apparently I was way too early, I guess. I didn't feel like I was, but I guess I was. The Rockies have been elite at stranding runners today. Is it going to happen again? It is. That splitter is working very well for Yamamoto. We will bring in AJ Minter. They were seeing Michael King way too well, and he just didn't have a great day after that throwing error from Brendan Rodgers cost him some runs. Popped up by Shohei Ohtani just to the left side of the foul line, and Brendan Rodgers makes the play. This one is popped to shallow left. Can Verdugo get there? Only barely. Alex Verdugo makes the play. That's 2 gone. Strike 3. 3-pitch strikeout for AJ Minter, and that was a very quick inning for him. Rounder to 3rd. Rogers will stop it, but yeah, that's definitely not going to be in time on the throw, and JT Realmuto will reach. Nothing doing for the Rockies offense in the top of the 6th, so here we are in the bottom part of the 6th. This is popped to left center field. A decent run for Verdugo, but he does get there, and Gavin Lux will fly out. Runner takes off for 2nd, and I was not prepared. I feel like there's not enough of a signal when that type of thing happens. It's hard for me to know. I don't play with the headphones on while I'm recording, so I can't hear it very well. Rounder onto Barry Cohen, and the stolen base gets them out of what would have been a double play. So a runner on 3rd as they get back to Freddie Freeman at the top of the order. We are going to intentionally walk Freeman so that we can face Riley Green. And we're going to bring in a fresh arm as well. That's Jose Quijada. Popped behind 2nd. A long run for Rosario and makes a difficult play. No runs added for the Dodgers. Please, oh please, Rockies offense, find some runs. It's still Yamamoto in the game. I figured he'd be out by now, but he is not. And he's still painting the corners. Rosario to left field, and this will not get down. Out number 1. Man, our top 2 guys are supposed to be high average, high OBP guys, and they're just not able to get hits today. Yamamoto is just painting. Soft grounder onto 2nd for Luis Ariz, and he goes down. We're going to let Yamamoto go into the 8th at this rate. It's been a brutally difficult day for the bats. We've gotten some leadoff hits a few times. They're saying Nolan Jones did not go, but we just can't bat anybody around, it seems. Jones, fairly deep to right, but again, just not enough on it. Only 89 off the bat, and that ends the 7th for the Rockies. Mookie Betts is going to get a base hit to lead off the Dodgers half of the 7th. And Shohei Ohtani is going to follow that up with a single of his own. And now we've got runners on first and on second with no outs for the Dodgers. And it's going to be another single for the Dodgers. Betts not going to test the arm of Verdugo. Probably a wise decision as that throw gets back in quickly. And now it's bases loaded, nobody out for the Dodgers. This is a grounder onto short, and it is going to be a double play, but it's still going to score a run for LA. Maybe should have thrown home with Tovar. But I don't know. I think we just secure those 2 outs, limit the damage, rather than potentially make it worse. Although the throw home probably would have been there in time. Strike 3 looking for JT Realmuto. And not a bad inning from Quijada, considering he gave up all those singles to start. And finally, we face a new pitcher. It's JP Fireeisen, and he'll face Barry Cohen first. Cohen smacks this one straight into the ground in front of him and is thrown out by Realmuto at first. That was very weird. Timing was good. Ball was right down the middle. Just was on top of it. Launch angle of -92 degrees. Now Ezequiel Tovar got a slider that, was hanging right down the middle. Perfectly placed in order to hit. But Tovar softly pops it to James Outman. This has been a tough watch, and I'm the one playing, so I can only imagine as the audience, this has been frustrating. No offense, and that trend continues with Alex Verdugo lining out to right field. We're down to our last opportunity, which will be in the top of the 9th. Bring in Jalen Beeks for an inning of work. Jose Quijada was tired enough. I wanted to take him out. Seems like this Dodgers lineup in general is just worse against lefties, which isn't great for us because all of our starters are righties. As this is going to be a single once again to lead off the inning for the Dodgers. Grounder onto Cohen. It might be a double play. It is. 3-6-3 double play. We seem to get that double play in particular very frequently. Now we're back up to Freddie Freeman, one of the few guys in this Dodgers lineup that is actually better against lefties. On to Brendan Rodgers at third, and Freeman will be thrown out. So we go to the top part of the 9th. The Rockies' last chance to rally. Taylor Rogers into the game. The most important thing here is base runners. Taylor Rogers apparently is their closer this season. I guess it makes sense with a 94 pitching clutch. He is only a 75 overall, though, and he has very low stamina. So if we can make him work, we have a chance here. Rogers flies to right. Did the right fielder even move an inch? I don't think he did. Now it's Yanquiel Fernandez's turn. Can't wait to see who he flies out to, since nobody can make good contact. Strike 3 on a nasty sinker. I thought that was a slurve again. That's what I was looking for, because he kept throwing that slurve, which would have broke back into the plate. But that was a sinker, so it stayed out. He literally tunneled me. 2 strikes to Samuel Basallo. It feels like a lost cause at this point. The bats just fell asleep after the first couple innings where we got some base hits, got our couple runs, but then nothing. Just dead silent, especially from the top 2 of the order. And they're supposed to be our high OBP guys. Fumbled with it third. Basallo beats out the throw. Is that going to be ruled an error? My assumption would be yes. It is. E5. So there's a little bit of life in the lineup, maybe. Back to the top of the order, Ahmed Rosario 0 for 7 in the series so far. Now would be a great time to turn that around. And he's going to do just that. This is going to fall in for a single. Rosario gets a base hit, and oh no, I might have screwed us. Okay, never mind. The catcher was there after the throwing error. I was going to advance the runners, but sent him back just in time. They are actually going to take Taylor Rogers out of the game. It wasn't a save situation, actually. That's my mistake. So Rogers not their closer. This is their actual closer, Evan Phillips, and he is quite a bit better. Need a hit from Luis Ariz to keep things going for the Rockies. Oh, that was the one. That was the one. Timing was good. Just missed it. Did Luis Ariz. This one is popped to foul territory and right. Oh my God. Riley Green lays out for that, hits his face on the wall, and is just fine, I guess. If we can get Ariz on, Nolan Jones is up next, and he's a scary man at the plate. 2-2 pitch on its way, and Ariz flies out to Freddie Freeman, or lines out, rather, to Freddie Freeman. My goodness, man, this was a very frustrating loss to the Dodgers. Just couldn't do anything offensively. Michael King struggled after the throwing error from Brendan Rodgers, which I feel like really cost us 3 runs. We would have lost to a 3-run Dodgers team anyway. It would have been 3-2 without that throwing error, presumably. And that's still an L. Yamamoto gets player of the game. The loss credited to Michael King. I'm curious how many earned runs he actually has. Yeah, it says he only gave up 3 earned runs when there were 5 runs total against him, so 2 of those credited to the error of Brendan Rodgers. So in reality, the Dodgers had 4 earned runs, which still would have beat us 4-2. So it doesn't even matter just because our offense was that bad today. Did actually finally get a hit from Ahmed Rosario in his 5th plate appearance. Struck out a bunch. We didn't walk at all. Just a bad performance from the offense. It is our first day to set scouting assignments after that. Greg Zibazinski, I think? What a name. Greg Zibazinski. It's probably Greg Zibzinski, if I had to guess. That's such a fun name. I kind of want to draft him just for that. Who knows if he'll be available or not. So really, what does this Rockies team need? I think you're never in a bad spot taking like a starting pitcher around 12th. I know we don't need more of them, but it never hurts, right, to have more starting pitching prospects. There's a couple guys in our starting pitching prospect rotation that have low stamina that could be moved to relievers potentially, so maybe we look for starting pitchers with more stamina. I think really kind of what I'm after though is a power bat. We have very, very little power in this Rockies lineup. And also, as much as I love Samuel Basayo as a catcher, he does only have 80 potential. So his ceiling is pretty low. He's still going to be a quality player, I think, for a long time, but he's not like an all-star caliber catcher per se. So a catcher is probably a need, even though we do have Aiden Bryant. The only top 100 catchers are Oliver Collado and Thad McManus. Oliver, 18 years old, is a big time power bat. Ooh, I like Oliver quite a bit. This is kind of exactly what I'd be looking for. Sucks that his vision and discipline is a little low, but he looks like he's a great fielder with big time power. A catcher out of the Dominican Republic. Okay, so we're gonna scout catchers internationally, and then a position that typically carries a lot of power hitters is first base, and there's this guy here, Jason Kaiser, who looks like he's a really good fielder and a really good power hitter. And if he is truly that good of a fielder, he could play at first, and Barry Cohen could maybe become a DH in the future. Not that Barry Cohen is like a bad fielder, just obviously it looks like Jason Kaiser is a lot better, and he's also international. So we will scout first baseman internationally as well. And then our last guy is our pitcher scout. Frank Watson seems interesting because he has 80 to 99 potential. He's already 21, so he's got the college experience. He's probably going to be relatively high overall, and his potential is a more surefire thing. Although I keep getting these pitchers that have low hits and strikeouts per 9. Maybe I'll pass on Frank Watson. I would also absolutely love to find a lefty if possible. Oh, Greg is a lefty. Okay, Greg. All right, Greg, we'll scout you. Fine. Starting pitchers from the West, we will scout as well. It's the game of the week, apparently, as the Rockies looking to not get swept by the Dodgers. I've changed the lineup a little bit today. I've mostly just replaced a couple players. Sterling Thompson will play at third today, and Brenton Doyle will play in center, where normally it would be Fernandez. The Rockies face off against Dustin May today, and it's Ahmed Rosario at the plate. I'm hoping that bringing 2 new faces into the lineup could breathe some life into the team. despite the fact that they are undeniably worse with the bat than the counterparts that they have replaced. Strike 3 on Ahmed Rosario. Dustin May's slurve is nasty. Luis Arraez currently batting a 152. Wow, I cannot believe I swung at that. Luis Arraez back up the middle. He's slow though, and that's an easy play for the second baseman. Nolan Jones is actually going to get a base hit. Let's go. Nolan Jones, a double to start the day for him. 2 outs, though, in the first, so maybe Barry Cohen can bat him home. He does not have the highest clutch in the world. That's really the thing he needs to work on this season. But he does have big-time power. Cohen pops this one fairly deep to left, but in front of the warning track still. That's out number 3, but hey, we got a double. It's Johan Oviedo on the mound for the Rockies. He's got one of the best stamina ratings on the entire team, so hopefully he can go deep into this one. We used quite a bit of the bullpen yesterday. As long as the Rockies can hover around 500, I feel pretty good about our odds of finishing above 500. So as long as we're, 6-5, 1 game above 500, that's totally fine with me. We, at minimum, in order for me to keep my job, need to finish 82 and 80 on the season. Ball 4 to Riley Green, and it's the first walk of the day for Oviedo, a man who struggles with walks. Walks against a Dodgers lineup that's as deep as this is very bad, because now we face Mookie Betts and potentially Shohei Ohtani. Right down the middle, and Sterling Thompson is going to pull a Brendan Rodgers and throw this one into the outfield. Man, he has such a good arm. He's got an accurate, strong arm, and oh my goodness gracious. Part of the reason I played Sterling Thompson today is because he's a better fielder than Brendan Rodgers. Or at the very least, he has a better arm. 80 arm, 81 accuracy, and he just threw that one into the outfield. I thought that was a surefire double play. But now we face Shohei Ohtani with runners on the corners. This is like exactly the same situation that Brendan Rodgers put us in a day before, and this is going to score a run. And a bad throw from Rosario now, as nobody can throw accurately on this team. 1-0 LA. And that is entirely Sterling Thompson's fault. But I think that counts as an earned run for Oviedo. Let's check. Johan Oviedo, no earned runs allowed. So yep, that one is indeed on Sterling Thompson's error. He's one of the best fielders on the team. That's part of why I played him today, was to hopefully avoid errors, but happened to the best of us, I guess. And that is strike number 3 on James Outman, and that'll get us out of the first, but we are down by a run. Ezekiel Tovar will ground onto short. Mookie Betts has to make a tough play, and of course he does. It's Mookie Betts. Sterling Thompson and Brendan Rodgers could never. Verdugo pops this to center, and that is another easy play. Rockies 2 down already in the second. Thompson is going to pop out to center field as well. Boy, oh boy, are we having a great series with the bats. Grounder back up the middle by Colt Keith. Tovar, tough play, and he makes it. Maybe we should move Tovar over to third. Swing and a miss from JT Realmuto. And Oviedo's got his second strikeout of the day. And a grounder to Rosario, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Down go the Dodgers. Brenton Doyle's going to get a base hit. Of all the people I expected to get a hit, it was not him, that's for sure. But he does get one, a single for Brenton Doyle, and we've got some serious speed on the base paths now. And Basayo's going to ground to third. Immediately into a double play. Like, we can't have anything good in this series, I swear. I was gonna wait one pitch to attempt the steal, and of course the one pitch I waited ends up being a grounder to third into the easiest 5-4-3 double play you're ever gonna see. And he'll get a base hit right back up the middle, out there to James Outman. Would have been nice if Brenton Doyle had been on base during that, but alas. And Luis Arraez, who is just dead cold right now, flies out to shallow right center field. We brought him in to be a huge average guy, and he's batting, I think, a sub 150 right now. I know it's very, very early in the season. Can't be too upset just yet, but I'm not impressed with Luis Ariz. Swing and a miss on a perfectly painted fastball from Oviedo. Freddie Freeman pokes this into shallow right center. It's going to get down in front of Nolan Jones. And that is a base knock for the Dodgers. Back to that scary part of the order. Freddie Freeman taking off for second. There is no way we are getting a third throwing error in the series. Oh my goodness, man. An E4 from Ahmed Rosario. Cohen tried to jump up and save it. Couldn't do it. And now there's runners at second and third with only one out instead of two as we face Mookie Betts. This just isn't our series, I guess. I know we're a better home team. This is popped. It's not a lot of speed at third base. Verdugo does have a good arm. Can he make the throw? This one's accurate. Not quite enough strength. Nearly gets Freddie Freeman, but not enough out there in left. Verdugo, like I said, he has a pretty good arm. Verdugo has a 94 arm strength rating. So, I mean, it's only slightly worse than Doyle in center and Jones in right. So I'm not sure that any of our outfielders are making that throw. That would have been very impressive, as now we face off against Shohei Ohtani. Down 2 runs, and I don't think either of them are earned, actually, for Oviedo. Yeah, no earned runs for Oviedo. The 2 runs against the Rockies are both considered runs off of the errors. And I do think Oviedo is playing fine. He's just getting terrible defense behind him. This is shallow left, and it is going to get down in front of Verdugo. That one, I think, will be the first earned run. Still no earned runs for Oviedo. That is hilarious. It is 3-0 Dodgers, not a single run against Oviedo, technically. I think the way that that's calculated is because we didn't get out of the inning due to the throwing error. Now every run past this point is not counted against Oviedo because we would be out of the inning without the error. James Outman pretty deep to right. It gets over Nolan Jones's head. And here come more runs against as the defense just really screwing us. Sterling Thompson with the error gave up the first run, and now that's 3 runs scored that I think are all going to be credited to the Ahmed Rosario error. Still, no earned runs for Johan Oviedo. I know I value offense a bit more than I value defense, and I do think that the defense of this team has gotten a little bit worse. Not in the outfield, though. We've actually gotten better in the outfield with Verdugo, Doyle, and Jones. In the infield, we've gotten slightly worse, but it's not all that bad. Sterling Thompson is a great fielder and made an error today. Ahmed Rosario is not that great of a fielder, but does not have an inaccurate arm. Ahmed Rosario does not have as accurate of an arm as I thought. I think I might be thinking of Luis Ariz, but 66 is not that horrible. Let's do some quick managing because I'm not sure if the Rockies are getting back in this one. Fielder's choice, fielder's choice. Double from Real Muto, double from Lux. Ground out. We've got a runner on third with only 1 gone. Oviedo gets out of that, does finally get his first earned run. It's 5-0 Dodgers. Sterling Thompson with a single, Brenton Doyle with a single. It's a 2-hit day for Brenton Doyle, and another double play for Samuel Basallo. 2 at-bats, 2 double plays. And Ahmed Rosario potentially bat Sterling Thompson home. Okay, he draws a walk. Luis Ariz, one of our best players with runners in scoring position, grounds out. Let's see if Oviedo can get through the 5th. He still has pretty good energy. Allows a walk to Betts, a walk to Ohtani. Strikes out Outman. Fielder's choice against Colt Keith. So 2 gone. And a 3-run homer given up to JT Real Muto. It just isn't our series, as we'll bring in Loaizaga. He gets out of the inning. Round out for Nolan Jones, single for Cohen, single for Tovar, strikeout for Verdugo, and a single for Sterling Thompson finally scores a run for us. So made up for the 1 run he allowed off of an error, and a fielder's choice for Doyle. It's 8-1. Fast forward to the 7th, ground out for Basayo, who's having a terrible day. Rosario reaches on a walk, a double for Arise. That's more like it. Did I just see that the runner was thrown out at home though? Dude, I can't with Ahmed Rosario, man. He gets a throwing error that allows, I think, what was it, 3 or 4 runs, and now gets thrown out at home off of a Luis Arise double when you have Nolan Jones at the plate, who would have just batted him home right there. Just a terrible, terrible, terrible series from the Rockies. Solo home run to Mookie Betts, a walk to Shohei Ohtani, line out for James Outman, single for Colt Keith, fielder's choice to Real Muto, a walk to Lux. Gotta have a pitching change at this point, I guess. We'll bring in Caleb Ferguson, and another double. Man, oh man. It's 12-1. This game is pretty much over. I'm gonna go ahead and just fast forward out of here. 13-1 is the final against the Rockies. Like, we are not this bad of a team, I can assure you that. Rockies get swept by the Dodgers, and kind of in embarrassing fashion. Errors, 2 of them in this game, 2 throwing errors, an error in the game before, some base running errors, and just bad hitting all the way around. We left about 1 billion runners on base this series, I want to say. We had 13 total hits with only 1 run scored. I mean, that's horrendous. Why did they have Yanquiel Fernandez run for Brenton Doyle in the 8th? Do they not understand that Brenton Doyle has like 98 speed, I think, and Fernandez is like mid 60s? Like, Fernandez isn't slow, but he's not Brenton Doyle fast. What is the CPU doing? The loss goes to Oviedo. He ends up giving up 8 runs total, but only 4 of them were truly earned runs. I actually don't think that Oviedo was all that bad this outing. He definitely struggled near the end, but mostly it's just the errors. So the Rockies have now lost 4 straight games, starting with this 4-6 loss against Milwaukee, and now 3 straight against the Dodgers, including that 13-1 loss. So I mentioned I want a starting pitcher that is a lefty. We don't have a single lefty starting pitcher that's like ready to be a starter. Our best lefty in the system right now is Ryan Rollison, who I don't think is very good at all and has played horribly at AAA in previous seasons, is doing pretty well so far this season. But I would love to make a trade for a left-handed pitcher that could be with the Rockies for a long time and just be our true best lefty. And there's a guy I have in mind on a team that is selling that continues to be bad year after year. That's the White Sox, and that's Garrett Crochet. In real life, he's probably going to get dealt this season in 2024. We, of course, are in 2026, and the White Sox have kept him around. That B potential is a true 89, so he does still have a little bit more growth even from the 87 he's currently at. My only concern with him is he doesn't have great stamina, so he would probably be like a 5 innings pitched type of guy, and it's not the worst thing in the world to have a guy like that when we have a bullpen that's as good as ours is this season. And here's what they would want. They have a couple trades that they like. Sterling Thompson and Alex Verdugo makes sense. Brendan Rodgers and Sterling Thompson and Brenton Doyle. One thing I've noticed about these trade finders is that it really only pulls players from your trade block. So this might not be all the trades that they would be interested in. And I think one place they're really weak at is in the outfield. They have Johan Rojas at center field. They're set there like for life. I don't know why they'd want Brenton Doyle, but they have 28-year-old 76 overall Dominic Fletcher and 29-year-old 75 overall Eloy Jimenez. So if they wanted an outfielder, we could part ways with Zach Veen, who they are very interested in. He's only 24, has mid B potential, and could be a really quality outfielder for them for a really long time. And then if we finally want to rip off the Band-Aid and trade Brendan Rodgers, they would take this trade as well. And if you're curious how they are at second base, they're totally fine. They have Jacob Gonzalez, who is an A potential second baseman, good fielder, not super great with the bat yet, but very balanced and obviously very high potential. But Rodgers could also play third or short, and they're not great at third, with Wes Kath being their best prospect, and they are set at shortstop. So it maybe doesn't make a ton of sense for them to want Brendan Rodgers. One that does make a lot of sense, though, is for them to want Sterling Thompson. But I think that this is a little too much in favor of the White Sox, especially when you consider Garrett Crochet's stats. Like, if you look at him at base value just on his overall and his attributes, he's worth a lot. But in real life, obviously, you're going based off of their previous stats, and Crochet has not been very good. This year, 3.6 ERA, 1.5 whip, 5.2 ERA, 1.6 whip. Like, he's been bad throughout the series, had a good year in 2021. In real life, obviously, is killing it in 2024, but did not have a good year in the simulation. And that also makes me concerned, right? Does he not sim very well? Maybe we shouldn't go after him because he doesn't sim well. Maybe there's a different lefty we could go after in a trade. It's just the White Sox make a lot of sense because they're selling. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I won't probably make a move until around June at the earliest, but I do think I want to add a left-handed starting pitcher in some type of trade this season. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. The Rockies fall to 6-6. In the next episode, we'll probably focus on this series here against the Giants. We'll do a little bit of simulating, maybe the series against the Yankees. I'm not too sure. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do truly appreciate the continued support, and I will see you in the next episode.